This is part 4 of my series on developing my VS Code extension called Vortex. So based on GPT, it's an extension that allows you to generate, edit, or review code right inside the editor. So unfortunately, my previous stream was interrupted because of losing my internet connection, and hopefully today, and I can continue this stream for longer. So today I'm going to be looking at some of the issues that were raised and look at fixing them. I'll start with the bug issues. So yesterday, when I was trying to run the extension in my development host in VS Code, I faced a weird issue where it was for some reason trying to activate the extension twice, I believe. So all the metadata and properties that were already registered were attempting to register again, and it was throwing a weird error. So after messing around with it for a bit, I tried to uninstall the extension from the development host, and that was all that was required. And now everything seems to run fine. So quick demonstration for test. Let's try doing this. You can see that the extension is active and I'm inside my development host. So I'm just going to say generate code, odd numbers. And also the processing indicator that was shown here was a recent addition, which was for some reason missing in my previous version. So all of that is fixed now. Let me quickly test editing code. I'm going to say simplify and make more platonic. Let's see what it comes up with. Great. And finally, the review code feature. Okay, add error handling, rename function, use list comprehension with a filter function. So the good thing is all of these actionables, I believe, can directly be applied using the edit code command. Great. So the extension is working fine as it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and work on fixing the other issues. So I'm just going to close this with a comment for now, and it surfaces, maybe I'll reopen the issue later. So inside of the host, reason it seemed to be to activate the extension twice. Manually calling the extension inside the dev host, so everything is fine. If this so let's close that and go back to the open issues list. So there is a bug, so I'll focus on fixing the bugs for now. Right, so this is an unintended effect. So what happens is, if I have a timeout that is set in my settings, so let's open user settings, go to Vortex, and I have two controls here. So one of them is a request timeout, which I can potentially add, and now you can see the timeout is set to 20. But the thing is, this is not something that would reflect real time. So for example, let me change it to 2. Now ideally, any request that takes more than 2 seconds should time out. So let's see if that happens. Yeah, that took close to 7-8 seconds, I would say, and the request did not time out. So this means that the config update is not reflecting real time, and I kind of know why that happens. So the thing is, the timeout is a property of the OpenAI client, and it's initialized in the constructor when we create an instance of this client. Now the thing is, we don't listen for config changes and dynamically update this timeout, which is why we are facing this problem. So there are a couple of ways I can think about going about this. So one way would be to listen for any changes in the config timeout, and then have a setter on this on the timeout field and update it dynamically. Either that, or which kind of is the clean way of going, or we can just fetch the timeout every time as a quick fix. So let me see what could be a good way to go about it. So the thing is, we create a new instance of Vortex inside of the OpenAI client inside of Vortex, which means if I was to set the timeout on this, I would have to do it somewhere here. So I would have to add a listener on the config changes and then propagate the changes to the OpenAI client. Now an easy fix would be to just move this code inside of the getResponse function, so that it just fetches the config every time. I'm not sure if that's a great way to do it. So maybe I can just time box it. I'll try to quickly move this inside of Vortex. So actually, you know what, we can just get this done by adding a to do. So the thing is, the only place the timeout is used is inside of this function. So the idea was that if I added a couple more functions outside of this where the timeout might be used, well, then maybe I can make it a member and then expose a getter and setter on it. But right now it's only used inside this function. So what I can do is I can do a get timeout value function or something, just private inside of this, and then use that value, which it's all right to call it multiple times. So let me quickly do that. Get config value, I believe, is Cronus. Yes, it's a util. So this is just going to be and instead of setting, I'm just going to return this. Let's actually remove this field. We don't need it at all. Means this is gone. Timeout is also gone. I think this should be enough. I didn't change anything yet. Right, so let me quickly test this. If the build is already done, inside my, so here I just need to reload, and these so I changed the settings back to okay. So the current request timeout is 2 seconds. So let's try this. So I'm just going to actually copy maybe a function here. then say review code. Yes, so there was a timeout after 2 seconds. So let me now try to increase the timeout to 10 seconds. And as you can see, it's not timing out after 2 seconds, which means the 10-second timeout limit did get applied. Now, all right. So use a type return value, add error handling, consider passing the config name as a parameter. Okay. Okay, this is because this is the extension name, which is actually, yeah, a good thing to do. I can move it out into a constant and get Vortex config value. Purpose clear. This I believe is good. Okay, but anyway, for now, I think this bug is fixed. Just gonna push the changes quickly. Go ahead and check. The only changes I made were to move this into a private function. Use that every time I'm taking the timeout. Dynamically fetch timeout value from. Let me create a new branch. So I think as a solo developer for now, it's not really critical that I create a new PR for every change that I do. But I just think it's good practice so that I can revert it later on. So which actually brings me to a question. Am I using get config value every time? Am I fetching from the config every time I fetch the other config as well? I believe I am, but something I'll check after. Okay, so let's go to pull requests. It just look good. This just closes the. That's issue 43. That's good. All right, so let's look at the other bug. So right now, when there is a docstring that's added. We replace the entire code of function with an updated function that contains a docstring. This is non-optimal. It takes up a lot of tokens. Okay. This looks like an enhancement and not a bug. This is definitely an enhancement. This seems to be tricky and requires a bit of research. So let me see if I have any other low-hanging fruits or issues where I know how I can solve it. Okay, this refactor has been pending for a while. Should do this. Better error handling. So let's see how I can. So right, so I need try catch everywhere. I think I'll pick this up. For this, I need to figure out, or I can just put something inside the extension activation. Wait, did I lose my Wi-Fi again? No, looks to be good. So right here. All right, all of this is good. Now what I was saying is I need to figure out a way to properly handle errors. Now the thing is, I can't put a try catch around every piece of code there is. I mean, not at least from the top of my mind. How can I gracefully handle errors and print some kind of output to the console? Edit code. I believe all of that should be happening in the outermost layer. And this actually begs, it's actually begging for a refactor right now. Because I don't want all of this code inside of extension.ts. This file is kind of huge. So this is supposed to just register the command, and what I can do is edit code. Again, the problem is it says edit code, but it's not editing the code. It's just returning the updated code that needs to be set inside the editor. So what I think should happen is all of this where we check if we received some sort of updated code, and then actually making the edits, I believe needs to happen inside of Vortex, because that is what Vortex is about. So if I were to release this as some sort of library, people would not want to fetch the updated code and then understand where to set it, figure out the range and all of that. So they're just going to pass in a selection and expect the library to do all of that. So I think it makes sense to move this. So let me do one thing. I'm actually going to do that refactor now. I'll start with the first function, which was actually edit code. Let's look at this. So instead of fetching the updated code and setting it here, which is all that is done inside this function, this is just going to do everything, because I believe edit code right now is just okay. This, and what this returns is the updated code. So let me do the refactor for edit code. Actually, the thing is, I can start with generate, and the reason is because when I do the test, I always generate code first and then edit it and then review it. That's like an easy flow of operation for me. So this is also straightforward. So all I need to do is move this piece inside, go to generate code, and this is not going to return anything. And we don't have, so VS Code is basically fixed by an import, I believe. Okay, not sure why the IntelliSense is not showing the option to just fix this with an import. Okay, so I think that's something that's easily solved. I'll just put we are already importing star, so means I just need to do window dot. I'm done. And then I don't have connect with the editor, so let's try to get that. It's window.active text editor, so I can technically fetch it inside text, but I think it's possibly it's actually better to just pass it in. Code Now generate code needs to take in an editor. So editor is of type vscode.text editor. Go here. So just type. Okay, so is this a type? Not sure if it's a type or it's an interface. Yes, that's what I wanted. This type editor, and we should be done now. Yes, let's go back here. I think this looks much cleaner, and this is no longer going to be required. So if there is no editor, return if description, we get generate description, generate code, editor, the generate description, and the language ID. So the language ID is also not technically required to be passed because it's part of the editor. So let me make that change. Language. Oh, not sure why I called it language here and language ID here. So this is supposed to be language ID. Let me do this. Language ID. It's actually the same as this. And then just going to say use the language ID, which means language is unused, and can stop sending it in. Okay, this looks good. Yeah, so let me go ahead and test this. To generate code, function to, I don't know, split and inputs, string, commas, and return a dict of the values. I'm not sure what this function even does, but I'd like to see what its interpretation is. Oh, just enumerates the values and returns it, which is good. All right, so I now know that generate is working fine. So we just commit this. Sure. I'm going to commit this. Look at the code. It's also straightforward, to be honest. Take much. Updated code, which and though here I believe we actually need a selection. But it's part of the editor again, so I just need to pass in the editor parameter. So it'll be similar to the trade code issue. That solves most of the issues. Now I just need selection, which is again coming from the editor. And there's a document is also coming from the editor, I believe. Yes. Then you need range and selection, I think. Okay, there is a line count here, so let me relook this code for now. Not sure why I need this. So the line count is get number of lines in the current selection, and if it's above something, then do this. And okay, I need this because so if the selection is empty, then just take the entire document is what I'm doing. And how do I calculate the number of lines? I again take, if the selection is empty, then it's just document.line count, or a split based on what the selection text is, and get the length. Okay, that seems to be, so the selection does not have a line count, does it? To me seems a bit weird. Okay, currently doesn't. There is a start and there is an end, and let's see what these are. These are line numbers. It's a range. It's actually a range. So does the range have a line count is what the question is now. Let's go start, end is single line, contains is equal section union width. Okay, section extends range. Okay, so I think this way of doing things is a bit bad, because I don't want to pass in the line count. Is there a way I can get around? So can figure it out from the document and the selection, which are both available inside of the function. But the reason I have this line count over here is because I'm doing a validation check here, but there I'm using it for a different purpose. So maybe it's all right to compute it again. Let's just do this, and I think I should just be able to import this. Okay, I think it's good for now. I'm going to do this later. The edit code currently doesn't return anything anyway, so this is just going to say get the edit description and just do edit code. Let's test that. I'm just going to keep a copy of this function, so I'll just use this to perform my edit. So edit code, edit to split at a delimiter that is passed in as a okay, so edit code is also working. This refactor was good. Go ahead and I'm just going to quickly check just where just moved all of this. Do this. I have a couple of imports. Read that the signature. Okay, everything looks good. I'm going to comment this. Let me actually refer to the commit history. I just want to see what's the commit message so that I can replicate it. Okay, so this is move edit code functionality into Vortex. Commit that. And finally, we have the review code. Go ahead and check that out. This called over here, and then we do a display output. Now this again, I believe, can be a util. It does not need to lie inside extension.ts. So anyway, so let's see. Oh, we do this. There was an issue processing with review, but do we do it with the other functions? And this is where actually we do it here. So I've moved it inside, and which makes sense, in which case I'm just gonna move it inside. Do it here, and review text to be here. Don't need this. This does not return anything again. Display output is actually going to be inside utils, I think. Let's do that move. Don't need to this inside any variable, and this is going to say display output is not called. Just going to it takes an output and a language ID and then does a bunch of magic. Utils is also at the moment kind of flaky because I'm just dumping a lot of code inside it, but it makes sense if I move it inside a class of sorts. Only thing remaining is inside my review code. This needs to be imported actually. Not detecting it. Oh, that's possibly because I didn't export it. Once that's done, Vortex, we just add it. So we are sorted. Okay, again, just gonna keep a copy of this, reload the extension, paste this here, wait for the extension to become active. Yep. Review code, and it's gonna give it. I believe the review code takes the longest to process. For some reason, maybe there is scope for optimization. Might actually time out now. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, input validation, more descriptive function name, type annotations, and consider using a generator expression instead of a dictionary comprehension. Oh. So let's actually see what happens if I apply this edit. I'm curious to know. Oh, it's like this. But it still enumerates. So enumerate returns an iterator, and we do construct a dictionary here. Not really sure about this, but okay, looks like things are working fine. Again, this would be the last push, I believe. Go ahead and add extension, utils, and Vortex. And this issue is move review code functionality. And I should be able to close the issue, the corresponding issue. It refactor, move core logic into Vortex, keep extension.ts light. I wouldn't really say it's that light right now, but light enough. Almost same number of changes, additions and deletions. I think it's time to, maybe after I update the documentation and do a couple of enhancements, maybe I'll do another release. Okay, so refactor and create a config interface, better error handling. So let's look at the better error handling section right now. So I need to figure out how to use VS Code's output channel to put some UX guidelines. Maybe this has some content on it. Text menus, web view. Actually, I'm not also sure how visible this is in the stream, but as soon as I find the relevant section, maybe I'll zoom in. Actually, I'll just zoom in right now. Language extensions. There are a lot of powerful features actually side of VS Code, so it's going to be pretty long before I explore all of this, I believe. Don't think we need these view actions. Okay, maybe I don't need it right now. How do I things? So let's look at this. This is called a panel. Let's go to the panel. So how do I open, let me see this code output channel extension. So somewhere over here. Displays a collection of output channels, which is great for logging. Great. Oh, I can create output channel and also set a language ID. I believe most of mine is going to be text log output channel. Okay. Let's see what I can do with the log output channel. I think it's still loading. Properties method. So dot. Okay, I can do a dot info. I can do a dot show trace one. Okay. I can do a show. I can do a hide. Looks good. Not really sure what the difference between append and info or anything else would be. Okay, good. So what this seems to me is I'm just going to possibly generate a custom logger and as a wrapper around this, then just expose that from a class and use that inside of. So let me actually do one more thing. I'm going to install the extension, latest version at least, inside of this editor, for which I need to do a package. So let's check out to the main branch and then do a VSC package. I want to continue. Okay. I also need to update the metadata in package.json. Need to explore what fields are there and set them accordingly. Now need to install this extension. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is let's go and create a new file actually. At source. TS. See what is let's go. Hopefully this at least generates enough code for me to work with, not the entire class. By the way, it did. Okay, so let me import this inside Vortex. This will have a private logger. And this dot logger equals dot get instance. Not updated code. Okay. This means the OpenAI client returned empty. Is that it? Actually, maybe I should just put it inside the client over here first to begin with. Yeah, let me do that. Let me first put the changes here. Let's go to OpenAI client and say, okay, this logger equals logger.get instance. Generally what we also tend to do is pass in some sort of string or context to the get instance method so that you get different logger instances for each of the classes. But right now I'm just going to use the one output channel, so I'm not really concerned about that. What I'm going to do is, instead of just doing this throws an error. Instead of console error, let's make it this.logger.error. Okay, this is log. I need a wrapper around why didn't I just copy paste the there is no error inside the log output channel. It is weird because the docs seem to indicate that there is a this says create output channel. So maybe this returns a log output channel, so I have to send in so I need a name. So the name is actually fine, but to pass in parameter says log is true. Now this is actually an instance of log output channel. If you look at the log output channel, now I can do error with the message. Okay, but an OpenAI non-2xx error is possibly something that it's not something that's easy to replicate. So let's see if there's something else. Is there something else I need to log here as a debug? So what else does log output channel support? This debug, this just appends a line. This can clear the output channel. Then this is a debug message. There's an info as well. Okay, so let's look at the errors at least for the moment. And if there's an error, I'll go ahead and log that. So this is when the response status is not 200. What if there's a timeout? And the other thing is, this actually does it use Axios underneath? Because in that case, if it's a non 200, it's never going to come into the if block because Axios is going to throw. So let's quickly see what error handling on this looks like. Someone must have this is possibly because grading the package. A lot of people use Python, I think. Can I get some context if I go inside create chat completion? Throws required error. That's the only thing it throws. That doesn't make sense. Oh, sorry. This is the one for fine tuning. Wait, what? went inside create chat completion. Axios.axios response. So the thing is, it doesn't really tell you how to handle errors. This is says it throws a required error, but what about, so what is a required error? Extends base API. So the base API required error just extends error. So this can actually be any error. So let me actually put this around a try catch. So let's see. So this is fine. Create a messages object. I don't expect this to error out. This portion, then wrap this inside a try catch. I mean, what happens if I just do uses dot catch? This though seems a bit weird. Because we're using a wait. Let's actually do one thing. Wrap inside a try catch. This was one of the other issues. The thing is, by default, it doesn't indent according to the document. So I can do an auto format of the document after completion or creation. So let's see. So once this is done, move this side. So this is never going to be reached. I'm just going to come here and put this. Don't log it to the console. Is this going to be an Axios error? Maybe I can search GitHub for code bases that use this and see if anyone has added a try catch around this. It says, you see, okay, I can't go to this piece of code. Yeah, I can. Just a try catch error. Just says error.message. Okay. Let's just make that error.message, which means we'll not reach this portion, and I hope by default it returns a null. Or is it undefined? I'm not really sure. Let's look at the usages of get response. If not updated code, okay. So if it's if it returns a falsy value, then we are just throwing or logging something, I believe. Right? So it's fine, but this is a JS file. Maybe I can look at a TypeScript file. Got TypeScript. This looks good. Max tokens and temperature. Things that I have not set for now. No. This doesn't have a try catch around it. A lot of these don't. Maybe we can add support for GPT-4 as well. It's just a matter of switching the model out. That command. Okay. Just a bad hack, but accept it for now. Quickly see, so I added a logger, and then I'm using this inside of Vision. I hope the logger is instantiated fine. So what I can do is I can maybe add an info log. Sorry, this thing is don't have an info yet. Logger instantiated successfully, or say this is the OpenAI client instantiated successfully, and do this. Is it outputting it in the original extension over here? I mean the editor over here. Good. This is prettier. Extension host. This is Red Hat. Which is fine, but is the OpenAI client instantiated or not? Because now I'm thinking this happens inside Vortex constructor. So when is Vortex instantiated? It's happens as soon as the extension is activated. So this constructor should have executed, followed by this, followed by the info over here. So where is the log? Is it part of the debug console? No, it is inside the output. So maybe it's just called logger, is it? Check the yes, so it's called logger actually, and that's the name that comes here. So I'm just gonna go and change that to Vortex, because Vortex logs maybe. So let's see what people do. It just has the name of the extension right here, prettier Python git history. So I'm just gonna follow that. Let's create the output channel called Vortex, which means if I do this, go to active. I don't know why the, you can see the log over here, it's an info log. What else can I do here? I think I can change the log level, accepted log level somewhere. Again, not really interested in that now. Now that we have a logger, I think I can go and start putting all my errors into this logger. So let's see if I'm doing console.anywhere. It's inside the secret store. This is inside our test suite. So let me actually do this over here. I will again create a logger, a instance, code, and we're good to go. This is going to be this.logger.error. Not sure why I put it this way. So I used ERR in the other place, so I'm just same. Let me search for any other places. So we just call it ERR everywhere. Okay, that's good. So if there was an error setting the key, it's going to log it inside the output. So here is where I think I need to also explore some best practices. I don't know when I need to log things to the debug console and when I need to log it to output. Not sure. Maybe if I set the log level as debug, then it automatically goes to the debug console. Something I'll explore in the future, but for now I'm just going to add errors wherever appropriate. I believe all our console logs are moved out, so these are inside the test files. For now I'll just ignore them. So where else do I need to handle errors? So actually let me the code that I have for now. We have a class which I can actually add as a separate commit. Move on. It was created. So what this does is create output channel for logs. Existing is this. Okay. And while that is done, let me go ahead and add the logger wherever else it's applicable. So I think I need a bunch of debug logs. So let me go and add that now. Starting with the OpenAI client maybe. So here we know instantiated successfully. So throwing a new error here really just gets caught, does it? So the thing is I don't even catch it. So this also needs to possibly become a I should create a specific error extending the error for this and catch that uh, all the places where I use get response, and then I handle it, I think. So this should actually ideally not happen at all. Do I even do this check? So the only reason I do this check is because I accept undefined here as well. What if I don't do that? Then remove this unnecessary check. Should be good enough because the constructor has to have an OpenAI API key. So what if does the constructor throw? Okay, can do that later, but this should be fine for now. I can add a couple of debug logs maybe here. I don't think it has a debug right now. Let me quickly go and add that as well. Yes. So then I'm just gonna say received response. Then just put the response. So I will probably have to stringify this if I'm not wrong. But looks good. And most critical place where we need to add logs, I would say, be here. This response actually could be pretty huge, so maybe I'm not going to log all of it. So just the message. Okay, so actually why not just move this below and log the content? It's content.trim, in fact. Good to have. All right, for now, let's move on. This just says there was an issue, but doesn't say anything about what the issue was. Maybe we can just say empty response received. Did I add a logger to this? I haven't. Then so all the places where we do this, we also do a dot error empty response received from OpenAI. Possibly the entire thing goes inside a try catch. I think this is good for now. This we have a couple of debug logs. We also have a couple of error logs. Let's go ahead and push this. Just make sure I'm still streaming. I hope it's not this blurry in the stream actually, because I'm not able to see what clarity the game is bringing. Pull requests. I actually did not technically test this. I'm fairly confident that it'll work. We'll do the test right now. So the latest version of the extension running here. Let's reload. Oh, this was logged twice. Let's see why we do that actually. That is weird. Go to OpenAI client. Or maybe it was Vortex that was actually instantiated twice. So the only place where I instantiate this client. So I believe I'm also doing it. Or am I reinstantiating Vortex? So you see this. The thing is, I'm doing it in two places, but I only do this when this command is invoked. So let's see. And I'm instantiating. Maybe this is being called twice. There is an activate function. Can it activate twice? Aaron. Guess I'll know for sure this time. Reload this. Okay, this is weird because OpenAI client was instantiated thrice. Vortex just once. So this constructor is called only in this one place. And I know that Vortex itself is instantiated only once because I can see this log only once. So why am I getting this message multiple times? Is or is it creating an instance? Creating an instance as soon as mentioned here. That can't be it. Let me close the host. Maybe it's showing the older logs. Is it 32, 45? Yeah, these two seem like older logs, but these two are pretty close by. Pretty sure they came back to back. Let me close this. Run the extension once more. Vortex is active. Let's go to this was actually fine. Not sure what that was. Okay. Right, so let me have some of my code inside my utils reviewed. The output is fine. Not sure what is there to review in this, but just gonna do this. I think the verbosity is not set at a level where I'm currently able to see debug logs because let's go to settings. Should be should I look at oh, you can set the output channel name in certain extensions. That actually is good. Maybe I can know that, but not sure how useful it would be. Verbose commit. So the log level is actually set. I see at it's not set at a VS Code level. I think it's set at the log output channel level. Or is it? Let me check. Oh, there is an editor log level. Let's see what this is. It defaults to that. And the editor log level defaults to, okay, doesn't say that. It's weird. Maybe it's there in my things log level. This is in get. Nice sure. Let me actually close this now. Python. and listen to events to do some clean code as well. Anyway, I think I'm digressing at this point. I can see that the logs are coming in fine. So this is add error handling, consider separate function for password input. I don't see how that's applicable here. Consider using a config file. Well, the thing is, I need this place for the user to enter the API key, so these points are invalid. At least I think so. And didn't make much changes, just added a Vortex instantiated as a debug. Alright, so I'm just gonna move on to the next issue. Refactor and create a config interface. Config fetching is scattered in multiple places, is it? So this should be an easy fix. So hope I'm on the latest master, which I am. Okay, let me quickly go and fix this. Is inside utils. The get config value, but I am possibly not using it. So in this place, what I'm doing is I'm actually calling the get configuration directly. This is being used in a couple of places actually. So maybe it's something like config interface dot, which should ideally also be a singleton, but I think I can just move this inside. I mean, I can just make the call to. So this is max lines to process. What I'm going to do is just use the util function over here, get config key. So let's go here and say value. This is supposed to give me this is the same thing I'm going to use in the place where I use Vortex config. Max lines to process is just going to be this, which means your Vortex config is currently unused. Now I can remove this. Now all of my config comes from the same util function. Now it'll be easier for me to, if I want to, I can create a config interface and refactor whatever I want. Okay, I think this is good enough for now. I'm not going to move it into a static class or anything. This is just config fetching. The only change is in extension.ts. I'm just importing the util that I already made and I'm using it. Removing one newest piece of code. Go ahead and just commit this. Use util function to fetch config. Stage this and push it. And create my PR. So not creating a config interface for now. Pretty straightforward. VS Code's API in fact is the config interface here, so I'm not creating another thin layer on top of it. I don't think it'll be that useful. Might be useful if we want to do some sort of error handling and add smart defaults, but the thing is, the way we configure the config in our package.json, we can actually already add defaults, so it really doesn't make much sense to reinvent the wheel. Keep this already pretty clean. Okay, so we want this issue. Go. So I'm going to actually pick this up. So what you can actually do is, if you already have a code block where you have certain indentation and you try to generate something within that code block. Now the thing is, Vortex or OpenAI does not have any context of the internal of the external code block, that is, which is outside of the selection, so it's not going to indent it properly, and it currently doesn't have context of the current anything in the existing code. So we'll do an auto format and add a config for that. So let's quickly go. So to reproduce this, go to the window and file this Python. I'm just going to do, why that's a debug point here. To add to return odd numbers in a list. Thing is, if I say document, I don't know why it fails here, but hopefully it succeeds inside a normal editor. Maybe I have to save this for it to work. Let me actually save this. Do that inside of a development host. Oh, it can work. Yes, saved file parent works. So let's say I'm adding if a variable contains only integers, maybe. Let's say format. Yeah, this is because this is actually I think invalid, is it? Maybe this is fine. What if I do something like this? We add a space here. Cannot format. What's the problem now? Is this the problem? I think the problem is maybe with Python. I'm not really sure here, but let me just make it .js. It's JavaScript to okay, this looks good. Now minimal class that has basic arithmetic util functions. Okay, now if I do a format document, it's going to do this. Now let's say for some reason we wanted to generate a function inside of this. Let's say generate, and I'm going to say to calculate average of numbers. So you can see that this doesn't match the intent. But if I do a format document, hopefully, well, not sure, is this doesn't take a function. Okay. Anyway, to illustrate my point, the thing is indentation doesn't match if you try to just fill the code inside of some code block. So what I'm going to do is I'm possibly going to do a format document automatically as soon as we generate or edit code. So for now, let's do it on generate because that's where I see most of the problems. So you do an insert. So insert is a synchronous method. So after this, what we need to do is to format document. It doesn't, and I think we didn't import VS Code itself. Maybe it's going to make it simpler to import VS Code, or should I just import the namespaces that matter to me? This should actually solve it, and I should also check from some config and see if the config is set, then I do this format, otherwise don't do it, because some people might not want the auto format to run, in which case it might get annoying. So let's by default turn it on and turn it off if the user doesn't want it. So okay, that was actually simple. That was a pretty small change. What I'm going to do now is test this over here. Let's reload this window. Okay, so it actually a static function. Say static function to get average list of numbers. Okay, I'm not sure it applied the format. The document. So maybe this is not the command to run. What does this return actually? Executes a command. When execute an editor, not all types are allowed to be passed. Allowed types of string. Okay. There are no restrictions when executing commands that have been contributed by extensions. Okay. Now, how do I know whether this worked or not? So, do I throw a try catch or something? This just says that enable that results to the return value of the given command. Let's do code API in format document. So does format document not know what format the file is in? Not sure why it did not execute. Or did I not save my changes? Did I say I did save? Let's reload this. Reload the window. Something this is required. So just trying it one more time. Static function to average numbers. Added a class. Funny. Oh, I think the it's weird because also return the class. Maybe I should just test if calling format document works at all instead of trying to do this. Do I need to pass in any arguments? In the palette, bind the identifier to a title under the, okay, this is fine. So let's just see git command response. So can just put log. Let's do this. Let's reload this window. Go for it one more time. I do hope I added it inside the generate command. This is inserting, so it should be inside generate. Yes. Why would this not be working? Let's keep the output open and want to see. Look for Vortex. Clear this for now. function to calculate median of teachers. I don't know what I'm doing. Just said undefined. So am I even doing this right? Same thing, I can actually just see who else is using this. Doing a code search on GitHub should help. All of GitHub, look at code, 4K instances apparently, good. This is to alter certain key bindings. Wait, there is an editor.format. Returns null, it actually returns undefined for me, but let me see how I can get this done. Oh, is it because that's a format on say, but I'm not formatting it. This doesn't help either. So I can do a editor.get action apparently. Okay. Let me try that. So that happens when I do editor.get action. Oh, this happens inside of the editor. Is it maybe formatting it? No, the thing is I do log it and it logs inside that editor. So I was just wondering if for some reason it's execute command returns undefined. Let's see that. Oh, it's maybe not happening inside of this. So I can await the edit, is it? So the edit is awaited, which means I can then just move this out. This works. This is what they are suggesting. Let me try this. Reload the window. Here the static function to get odd numbers. Oh, I do think it actually did the formatting. Now I can see the formatting is applied fine. So even if the thing is, I don't even need to test it inside of this. I can just have bad formatting over, for example, like this. If I do this and format, it's going to move. So let's do one thing. Just going to randomly indent all of these and then just generate some random function here. Generate simple function to list of numbers. I think I should have some pre-made primitives that I can use to quickly test, and you can see now the entire document is formatted. So great, this also works, and this in. The only change I had to make was import commands and actually run the command inside here, which means, do I still need this async? Because there's no, yeah, but the edit is actually deniable, so I avoid that and need this log anymore. Don't need this anymore. Great, so that's one more issue fixed. I think I can do this also for the edit code. So this does .selection.end. This clears the selection. Then I just do a format. This is good, this is great. Check out this feature, auto format after code. Auto format the document after generating or editing code. Let's just push this for now. There's one more thing I wanted to do. I want the user to be able to configure this behavior, even though I'm going to set it as a default config. So let's first register a configuration entry here, which is going to be Vortex dot auto format boolean, which is true. Auto format the document was generating our code. Now what I need to do is, in the place where I'm running the command, just need to do get config values of I think it's just saying that okay, no braces. So let's use the same condition in the other place. I run edit execute command, and then we should be good. I think that is all that's actually required. Let's go ahead and reload this window and test it. Settings. Unbelievably slow. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm also streaming. Format post generate editing code. It's set to true. Let's actually set this to false. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to de-indent of lines. I'm going to say function to return all numbers from my list of numbers. And you can see it did not format it, but if I turn this on, then say to return even numbers, list of you can see the entire document is formatted properly. Great, so the config also works, and I'm going to be pushing that now. I think updates are in package.json. I'll update the publisher as well. This is actually not required inside this here, but fine, go ahead with it. With the changes and config to be I think this is good enough. Okay. That was work. Go back to the indentation issues. Just the indentation. Great, so we have closed a bunch of issues. Go back, we have 8 issues. Add features in a context menu. So I think I'll actually take the keyboard shortcuts and updating README with rich content for now, and I can do a release after this. Let's see. So keyboard shortcuts. How do I register keyboard shortcut? I think this goes in UX guidelines, is it? capabilities. I think it's called keyboard bindings. Let's go to common capabilities. Key binding. I have custom key bindings, contributes.key bindings. Let's try this. So you can edit shortcuts. How do I set up key bindings inside extension? So I need to set up contributes.key bindings. Contributing a key binding will cause the default keyboard shortcuts to display a rule, and every UI representation will now show the key binding. So defining that, control F1 and command F1 on the Mac OS trigger this. There is a Mac binding separately. Okay. So this is just a matter of adding this inside the package.json. Is that all? I have contributes command and we have contributes configuration, and I believe it's just key bindings. And I'm gonna say this. Let's see, I need to have control plus. Let's actually look at the existing what could be a good key binding for this. So I think we can have an initial we can have multiple key bindings, as in into control T and then control Y. I don't want to use the common key bindings as well, but the thing is, most of the keyboard seems to have been taken already. But as long as I add some key binding, I believe users will be able to tweak it to their will. So let's this is with the terminal, this is with navigation. The problem with this is you can't use common keys. Control KV, for example, look at this. So control K, I believe, is like a kind of modifier that you add before a lot of commands. So you see control K, control H shows output panel, control K, control D moves the selection to find next match, and so on. So maybe I can have is there a J somewhere? So maybe start with J now. Maybe I'm just testing. So how does this work? I'm not sure. J and G will do a generate, and what was the other? says when. So inside key bindings, let's see if can do something, and you can also open the key bindings.json when clause context. Then your bindings are enabled. An editor has focus, either the text or widget. Cursor is blinking. I think oh, this is when any text input area. I think editor text focus makes sense, and the same thing for review can have. Oh, I don't require anything to have a selection or anything, because this makes sense. So let's put when editor text focus, and let's add a couple more key bindings to edit code. It's gonna say E, view code is going to do R. All of these are valid when you have editor text focus. Okay, with that in place, let's reload the window and test this out quickly. What if I do so you do have shortcut does work. I actually tried Control J and Control R. The response was received. So that's a first actually. Yeah, the input. So this was actually a timeout, which we caught. Don't know why it took that much time. Let me try this again. This should not take that long. If it is, I'll just increase the timeout. Just going to say settings to Vortex, timeout to 20 seconds. 20 is kind of the maximum. Shouldn't actually take this long to just get a review. Maybe it does. So we did get it. Because the review is pretty thorough. Now I can understand why it took so long. Maybe we have different timeouts for different functions. That's a good idea. Note of that. Let's also do okay. I mean, I don't really need to test. I just need to test if the right command is invoked. See that happening. Now this looks good. So we have initially added keyboard shortcuts. All it required was a package.json change. And I am not in the right branch. Changes. Okay, I'm actually just going to keep a copy of this, move it because it's going to be um, easier than fixing any conflicts. Now my repo is clean. Let's pull the latest changes. Oh, sure. Okay, now my repo is definitely do this. And check out shortcuts, which is going to be a very simple change. After configuration, I'm going to add keybind, and we're actually done. This might be the quickest fix that I've done. That was pretty straightforward. I think VS Code's API definitely needs some sort of appreciation because of the way it's set up. This is also possibly why VS Code became so popular, because building extensions is so easy because of the way that API is designed. And to take a page out of that, we added key bindings, closes, keyboard shortcuts, merge this, and okay, we're good to go. So I think as a last step for this stream, I'm going to update the README. So this possibly also includes the config options in metadata or anything that I would need to change in order to make this more informative. For example, I keep getting a message that my repository is not configured here. Let me go ahead and check what the recommendations are on VS Code. Should be inside my publishing extensions. So we can provide an icon. Icon may not be an SVG. Image URLs need to resolve to HTTPS URLs. Okay, don't need this for now. Auto incrementing the extension version. So I can say PSE publish minor. This will update the package.json version. This is something I also need to update. Let's look at the extension manifest. So this is a good place. Name of the extension, semver. The semver should be the same as the GitHub tag that I actually have. So just use that. License is the MIT license, display name, description, categories. I think all of these are set up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is maybe just step through this one by one and see where it makes sense to add values. And let's first go with this for now. Go ahead with the JSON here. Let's go to the main branch, pull the latest code. And this version actually is going to be the version of the next tag that we're going to release, for which we need to go to GitHub and see what the current tag is. I have two tags. 0.1.2 alpha, so I can make this 0.2 version, 2.0. Categories, engine is fine. Let's get this. The semantic version is set, fine. Publisher name there, engines is set, license. Let's look at of these are not required for now. There is okay, there is no license, so I'm going to set this. If you do have a license file in the root of your extension, it should be C license in and then file name, and we do have a license file in the root, so so let's add the license over here. Okay, so the license is now added. There is the display name, it's Vortex, description. Maybe I can add more things, but now it's fine. Categories, it just says other. Let's look at snippets, I think. Snippets, parameters, linters. I think this is fine. Let's look at keywords. Make it easier to find the extension for VS Code extensions. Let me just do a bit of preliminary research to see I don't see content for the keywords. So maybe I can look at the marketplace to understand what kind of keywords there. Go and check. This is gonna open some random. Let's go to the Open API. I think this is along with. I search for my own extension. Okay, there are 6 downloads. That's good to see. There are certain tags. It says JavaScript, Python, TypeScript. Yes, I can add a couple. These are included with other extension tags. So let's go ahead and add it here. Maybe GPT. This is going to be all in lowercase, I believe. We have AI assisted development, for which tags like that. Not really sure what other tags I add, so take this up as a different task. Maybe use SEO and finding the extension. Helps format the marketplace header, match your icon. So I don't have an icon right now, so on sets the extension we flagged as a preview. Is set a preview though? Maybe. Okay with that. Entry point, contributes, activation events. badges. Each badge is an object containing 3 properties: URL, chef, and approved badges. So not going for that now. Markdown rendering engine. Set to a string to provide URL of a custom Q&A. Okay, I don't have that right now. I don't have a sponsor. Extension kind. Okay, so be good if I had an icon, I think. Oh, there is a home page. And the thing is, there is also a repository which I can specify. So let's actually do that. I'm gonna add repository information, type is git, and URL is going to be the URL of my repository. Then say bugs, which is just going to be the same URL and issues. So does this need a .git at the end? This is something sure about. I think this should be fine. I'm just going to leave it like this. There's a bug URL, and I can also put an email on it. So let me see, what else can I put? Okay, this is just my personal email. Okay, I think everything else is fine. There is a gallery banner where you can some colors, you can put an icon, which I eventually need to add. I think there is an author. Taking this package, email, name, and URL. Email is going to be let's look at npm's package.json reference. So there are a bunch of things that can actually add. The people fields, maybe I should just link my GitHub profile over here. I'm actually not sure. I'll just put this for now. Okay, looks good. This is good enough for me now. Apart from this, let's see what I can add in the README, which I'm going to open the markdown preview. Keep this over here. So let's update this with auto format. Just taking it from my package.json. And array key bindings. Each command has a corresponding key binding, or should be able to shortcuts. Why is this spilling over to the so I'm actually not sure of this, so I'm not going to add this. Add trade code going to be control plus J, then control plus G. This overkill. It's going to be edit code, it's going to be review code. Convenience. Note that the second actually this. I don't want to overcomplicate things. This is okay. We updated some information on the key bindings, use cases. I think the next thing would be to add maybe a GIF to this, show how it actually works. That would be really. We'll possibly do it on the next live stream. So I'm just gonna check out. There's something feature set. README. I'm just gonna say README and metadata. Create a new branch. Let's push both of these. Update metadata and read. Now I'm going to shortly publish the extension. Actually, my repo isn't pinned here. These. Pin this. Closes. I think it says rich content, but what I meant was to update it with enough information to give some more context. There will be a part 2, definitely. Look at this. Great. So we closed a bunch of issues today. We have only 6 open issues and all of them are enhancements. Let's go and actually make a release. this is actually going to, I also need to start updating my changelog. I currently haven't updated my changelog, so there should be a generator for that. Is this just has the default text in it. You go to the package.json and see what the version was. 0.2.0. So let's go ahead and create new tag on publish, target main. Let's generate release notes. Actually, let's make it v. It's also alpha. Oh, I managed to do all of this today. That's really good. This is the alpha version. Great. Now let's go here and to maybe use explore GitHub packages as well. So I think it was straightforward to do a release. All I had to do was see publish. Is it? Let's make sure I'm on the main branch. We can actually see Git history. Great. So let me go ahead and publish this. I think the only thing required was to just go and I can do publish minor. You can publish this, but create a version commit and tag. It is run in a Git. So all I need to do is actually just do vsce publish. Okay, I am on my main branch because the terminal had not updated, so I thought I might have been on a different branch. Go ahead and published. Let's go to the marketplace. So actually extension URL should be over here. Open this. Still says 0.0.1. So maybe it takes a while for it to actually like. I remember the first time I published, I was doing some sort of verification, and only then it allowed me to. How do I see my thing? Is I don't have an organization. I just need to see my extensions. I was able to create an extension without a project. For some reason I'm not able to. Maybe I can search extensions. What if I search for Vortex? I actually don't get this UI because I do have the extension. Maybe this might take a few minutes. Maybe the hub URL. Download from marketplace, install via 9. So you see, actually it doesn't show me that it's still loading. Yes, this is the view that I was looking for. To go to my publisher. Okay, just now. So which means if I open it now, it should reflect the higher version. I'm just going to open the extension URL from here. And yes, all the repo details appear here now. The license should show the MIT license. Yes. And the publisher. So inside the publisher, the place where I manage extension, here it shows 9 here, acquisition. So I don't know what this 9 means. If it's like 333, what? This just seems like it's following some sort of pattern, but whatever. Anyway, so I think a lot of good work done today, and most issues that I wanted to work on today was able to tackle and fix. We actually got down our issue count from, I think, around 12 or 13 to 6. So that's a really good thing. And yes, so the next time I'll be picking up certain features in the context menu and actually enhancing the prompt itself to return better code. The most interesting and challenging thing here, I possibly think, would be to use VS Code bindings to, actually work on code refactors. Because currently, if I select a function and ask Vortex to maybe use better naming conventions, it will do the renaming in the context of that function, but what about the callers of that function and everywhere else that variables in that function are being referenced to? Since Vortex doesn't have the context of that, it's not going to make the changes across the code base, but I can achieve this using VS Code's rename symbol action. The only problem is that will require a complete makeover of the way the edit code functionality works, because now I need to make sure that all the edits that constitute renames have to go through the rename symbol action, and make sure that if there are 4 or 5 edits that are applied, only the rename edits happen maybe at the end using the VS Code. This will be a challenge, but I believe it will be a fun challenge. I'll possibly take it up in the next stream. So anyway, I'm going to end the stream here.